just behind getting out of work today. So I don't want to take up any more of everybody's time. I see we don't have law enforcement here yet, so we'll skip the law enforcement report. Hopefully you saw the meeting minutes in the email I sent out yesterday or this morning. Was there any changes, additions, or corrections to the meeting minutes? Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes? Pat, thank you. A second? Barry, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Yes, have it. I don't know if we can note that we've adopted the September meeting minutes. All right. I actually didn't have any announcements myself today. So Betsy did have one though. Betsy, would you like to come up and speak?
I wanted to tell you about a program that I've directed for ETV on diabetes, and it's going to air on November 14th at 8 o'clock on ETV, and then it's a half hour, and at 8:30, from 8:30 to 9:30, there's going to be a forum discussion about the topic, and it focuses on 29203. It's not all about 29203, but it does, because, as I'm sure many of you know, our zip code has one of the highest rates of diabetic amputation in the country. And so it's a big problem in our community. And the reason I'm telling you all about it is because I'm going to pass around a sheet, and if you're interested, they're going to have a live audience, an in-studio audience for the forum. And I would love it if as many of y'all as want to would come and participate in that forum. So it would mean that you would need to be there, obviously, that night. I think, oh geez, I said that, but I wonder if they're taping it in advance. Anyway, I'll find out, but I think it's going to be live. So I'm going to pass this around, and if you're interested in participating, please print your name and your contact information. Yeah, Lyman?
So the in the studio, what's that about? How's that gonna go down?
Right, so the documentary is basically a profile of 5 people. They don't all live in 29203, but 5 residents of Columbia who are diabetic and have, basically it's their stories. And then within the half hour, there are also some medical people, particularly people from Eau Claire Cooperative Health, which just does such a great job of serving our community. So that's the documentary. That, like I said, that's a half an hour. Then the discussion is going to kind of go deeper into certain aspects, like why is diabetes such a big problem in not only our community, but really in South Carolina in general. What they call the social determinants of health, what are they, and what can we do about them? What it'll be is, I think there'll be about 5 people who are experts in the field, either medical experts, or they will be people from the political community. We did interview Tina Herbert. She's in the documentary. They want to have an audience there, an audience of citizens, so that you can participate in the discussion and ask questions of these experts. Does that make sense?
I have one other question.
Yeah.
So across the street, we have a dialysis center.
Yes.
Is that where people that have diabetes go?
Yes, we have in the 29203 area, a zip code, we have a preponderance of dialysis centers. I think there are over 10. And Elva, you might know more about it than I do. But yeah, there are a lot of dialysis centers. So if you have diabetes, your kidneys, your kidneys cease to function at some point.
So they are related, kidney disease and diabetes.
Yeah, the one right across the street where the Bilo used to be,
Yeah,
it is a dialysis center. They call it a renal center,
yeah.
but it's for people whose kidneys have failed and they have to have their blood cleaned out several times a week. So it's pretty rigorous, yeah. And then the whole issue of amputation, it's a really terrible outcome that, that many people suffer. And as I said, many people in our community, way too many people in our community. So.
Is this, so this documentary, ETV is the producer of it, and who would fund it, something like this?
This is funded by ETV.
Okay, so the state of South Carolina through the endowment.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone who worked on it, including myself, are employees of ETV.
Okay.
So essentially, we're state employees. So it is the state. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Yeah.
What time did you say that was on 14th?
The documentary is going to air at 8, and then it will be followed up immediately with the forum, and that will be moderated by Felicia Eady. She works for South Carolina Public Radio, and if you listen to Morning Edition, she does the local Morning Edition every morning. So she's a great moderator, and I know she'll do a good job. So I'm going to pass this around, and hope that you'll be interested in. I will contact you when I know more about the details.
Thank you, Betsy. All right. We have another announcement. Christy Jordan, SR Walking Donations. She has an announcement about Pitch, a wonderful organization that I think we've all become familiar with. So, Christy, you gonna come up and talk about it?
Hi, hey everyone. Hey. How are y'all doing? Good. Good. It's good to see everyone. So like Ty said, I know a lot of y'all, but my name is Christy Jordan, and I'm the founder and executive director for Pitch Inc. We run the community fridge across the street. So just really want to give an update. So unfortunately, we have ran out of funding to do our farmers market pop-up shop. We did just receive a donation from the Central Carolina Community Fund. So we're looking into doing a Thanksgiving sponsored drive. We just got that letter actually last week that we'll be getting a small grant from them. So once we find out when we're gonna actually get that, we're gonna make sure we try to get that in time for Thanksgiving. And then we'll be sharing the dates with the park and with Ty as well. We'll be doing a Thanksgiving sponsored community fridge. But right now, essentially that's what we're working on, is we're in a fundraising period so that we can go back and continue to host a community fridge. I want to thank everyone that has been coming out, spreading the word. I think the neighborhood likes it. We're able to get that and get together. So that's just really essentially an update. What we're doing right now is looking to some different grant funding, hoping to maybe get some of the local government support at some point to be able to sustain that program, because we're feeding about at least between 100 and 125 households each month. When we're able to do that program with the fresh produce. So just really want to give an update for that. And while I'm up here, I want to introduce, we actually have been partnering with South Carolina DHEC, and so in lieu of that, or in the meantime, we do want to be able to offer the community some nutrition education classes. So I'm going to introduce Ms. Farah from South Carolina DHEC to come up and speak a little bit about that. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Christy. No problem. Thank you all for having me.
I have truly enjoyed getting to know Christy and the partnership. My name is Farrah Wiggin. I'm a dietitian with the now Department of Public Health. We're not DHEC anymore. The SNAP-Ed program. So we teach nutrition education in 21 counties in the Midlands, and we work a lot in our area. So I call it our area because we're right down here with you folks in your neighborhood. So, we've been working with the schools, and Hyatt Park is a phenomenal opportunity for you all to receive nutrition education. We have fun, we play games, we work with youth from 3 years of age to, I call it infinity. So we have children's classes, we have nutrition education and cooking classes for adults, as well as a physical activity walk with ease class. So I don't know about y'all, but your friends down the street at Greenview are super excited about this event, so we need to show them up and get on the books at Hyatt Park for sure. But we're happy to serve, and if you guys are interested, I would be more than happy to come out to Hyatt Park and we can start a class series. Christy, I'm not sure who the coordinator would be. There she is. Okay, wonderful. So I would connect with you, and it's basically we teach classes evenings, daytime, during some of the kids' summer break. So there's a lot of opportunity to work with us. We're a free service to you. And it's general nutrition education. How do I read a food label? How do I shop on my budget? What does that look like? And so we truly come in and help, you all navigate, because you can eat healthy and make progress with, while you're on a budget. You can make it happen. So we're gonna give you those tools and skills to do that. So, any questions? It's almost too good to be true. I'm not gonna bill you, there's no copay, all the things, and you get to eat, so what's better than that? So I'll provide you with some information, and we can maybe connect and find out how we wanna go about recruitment. But just wanted to know we're excited for the partnership and working with Christy, and we're here to have some fun. So, thank you.
Those sound like fantastic programs. Thank you both for all the work y'all continue to do in our community, especially at Hyatt Park. That's a great segue, actually. Jamaica, do you have any other announcements about Hyatt Park?
Yeah, I have a couple. This one, well, two. Our Halloween carnival is the 31st, 6 to, it's Thursday, it's on Halloween this year, from 6 to 8, when the kids out. It's packed in the kitchen. We have fun games. Miss Michelle, if you come to the park right now, it's kind of spooky. Michelle is already gonna start her decor, so come check us out. But it is 6 to 8 on Halloween, so bring your children out. Also, just a heads up, Light It Up Noma is December 14th. It's supposed to be having a holiday market, a tree lighting, festival fun, cookie crawl. Put that down from 11 to 6. Streets supposed to be blocked off, food trucks. They're looking for vendors. You want to sell your things, come on out that day, let me know. So I can let Miss Sabrina know. But Light Up Noma is December 14th from 11 to 6. That's
Great.
it.
All right. Any questions for Jamaica? Thank you so much. Veronica, do you have any announcements you'd like to share? I don't know why I asked.
About the city of Columbia. How's everyone doing? Great. Likewise, I can say the same. Thank you for having me. Wanted to let you all know that on Thursday, October the 24th, at Lorrick Park, we're gonna have our community breast awareness partnering with Envision Diagnostic to hold a mammogram screening event. This event is gonna be from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. The QR code is there for you to scan, and that's going to be on Thursday. Saturday, October 26th, is Columbia Links Day of Health Resources and Information for seniors. So 55 and older, please come out to St. John Baptist Church. You can get information about SNAP, Medicare, mental health, Healthy Connections, Prime, Medicaid, Simple Wills, supplemental insurance, and all of this will be Saturday, October 26th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., St. John Baptist Church. There's a QR code for that as well. Next, Midlands Area Treasured Trees. The nomination has been going on now for the second month, and it's gonna end November 1st. So here is the selection criteria and what you would need to do if you would like to submit a nomination for a tree to be a part of the Treasured Tree Program. Veterans Day Parade, our 46th annual parade, will be on Monday, November the 11th. Our Grand Marshal will be Major General Van Carty. He's the 29th from the Adjutant General for South Carolina. So please, Sumter and Laurel, starting at 11 a.m. The 46th annual Veterans Day Parade will be Monday, November 11th, actually on Veterans Day this year. So just a little bit of things that's happening with the city of Columbia, and as always, thank you for allowing me to come out. You all have a very good evening.
All right. The last one I'll add is, because it'll happen before our next meeting, is please go vote on November 5th. Look up your polling place now. You can get a sample ballot at scvotes.org and go vote. And speaking of that, we have yes.
Or before, early voting started today.
That's a good point, yeah. Thank you, Tamika.
And there's multiple locations throughout the county. Today, all the reports I got were, every place had pretty healthy lines. So even early voting has a line, but just imagine how much of a line will be on November 5th. So, you could go to 2020 or 2011 Hampton Street. Other than that, probably the closest to us here is the Brook on Park Lane. And I heard that was pretty busy too, but I hear that it keeps going quickly.
Thank you so much, Tamika. That's great information.
The early voting is from 10 until 8:30 until 6 p.m. and it goes from the 21st to the 2nd, and that's 2 Saturdays are included.
All right.
It's
Very good.
.gov.
It's scvotes.gov.
I get that wrong every time. Thank you. Yeah, scvotes.gov. Thank you. All right. Well, we do have a school board election. That's one of the races that will be on the ballot. We have a couple of candidates here tonight. I'm going to start off with Jamie Devine. If you'd like to come up and tell us about your candidacy.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good to see y'all again. I'm Jamie Devine, running for Richland School District 2, Seat 2, which is the representative subset of this particular area. You do have opportunity to vote for one sub-seat area, which is Seat 2. And then you have opportunity to vote for 2 at-large candidates as well. I am a 16-year veteran of Richland School District 1. We've done some things that are good. We've done some things that we continue to work on. Do we have issues and challenges? Of course. As any large organization, we have 4,000 employees, 23,000 students in this general area. We are the capital city schools. There are 3 things that I want to talk with you about on tonight. First is, many of you know, I am married to Senator Tamika Devine. We have 3 beautiful children. Jameson, who is my campaign manager tonight. He's here to help me out tonight. He's a 2nd grader at Logan Elementary, have a 9th grader at Dreer, and then we have a college sophomore at American University. And so they all matriculate through Richland School District 1. A couple things we want to talk about is ensuring school safety. First is that I was glad to raise my hand to ensure that our elementary and secondary, middle schools, I'm sorry, not elementary, our high schools and our middle schools have metal detectors. And so I was glad to raise my hand. Now, what I will say philosophically, I disagree with that. Only because I believe it's a tool, not a toolbox, not an end-all, be-all. So what I can tell you is that we've seen a decrease in weapons being brought to school, increase in student participation, and we've seen less activity when it comes to guns and knives and those type things in Richland 1. Second thing that I prioritize also is students' mental health. We know that coming out of COVID, a lot of our young people are home. Actually, my son is on those video games, and sometimes they did not come out of that, but we prioritize making sure that we have mental health for our young people, as well as for our staff. We knew that staff needed to be taken care of too. Some of our schools have what we call relaxation rooms where staff can go in and make sure that they get that calm time to make sure that they just kind of get away, a little break. Was glad to support. Also, 30-minute break, particularly for elementary school teachers, so that they can have that free 30 minutes to do what they need to do as well. In addition, I was also glad to raise my hand some years ago to expand public school choice in Richland School District 1. A lot of our schools now have different choices, options, opportunities for young people to go to, and so I was glad to raise my hand to make sure that they get what they need. Our mission is to allow each student to grow to their potential and to their dreams. And so we want to make sure that each student does that. And then finally, we want to talk about prioritizing our student achievement. Many of you have heard about our test scores, or what we call the accountability model. The model for this year did change, so therefore we've seen an increase of schools that may have gone from one category to the other. However, as we just mentioned, we came from 30s today. So our incumbent, Angela Clyburn mentioned earlier, we grow our students, and I think I gave a scenario at our last meeting. We take students where they are. Let's use, for example, a 5th grader. He or she may be reading on the 3rd grade level, but we would take that student within one year and get them either to the 4th or 5th grade or 6th grade level. So we may grow that child 2 or 3 grade levels in 1 year. That's what we do in Richland School District 1. Now, while you may not see an increase out of that category, say from unsat or average or good to excellent, but we grow the student. And I'll give you another example. We've heard this on the campaign trail. C. Johnson's score was a 30 last year. However, the score goes from 30 to 40. C. Johnson grew from a 30 to a 35. While we're not out of that category, we did grow our students, and that's what's most important. You will see our college and career numbers also increase over the years, and I'm proud to continue to be a part of that, and I want to ask you for your support for additional 4 years to continue the work that we've done in Richland School District 1. Again, Jamie Devine, Richland School District 1, Seat 2. Thank you all so much, and have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, with that, Angela Clyburn, would you like to come up?
Yes, of course. I prefer not to be behind. Hi, how are y'all doing today? Great, great. Thank you for inviting us to speak today. My name is Angela Clyburn. I am a candidate for re-election for one of the at-large seats for Richland District 1. And, you know, Commissioner Devine did mention, you know, a lot of data. And, you know, one thing we do have to consider is, you know, one thing I do like to point out is that, you know, we experienced a very hard time some years ago coming out of the pandemic. Just being at home, you know, teachers were at home, students were at home. That was a learning curve in itself, just to, you know, figure out how to cope with those situations. A lot of our students experienced some learning loss, and that was across the country. So it was just not in our district where we experienced that learning loss. But what we were able to do, one thing, you know, not every district can say that they went the extra mile that we did to keep people safe. That's number one. Number two, to make sure that we did whatever we could to make sure we had those tools at home, those hotspots at home, to make sure our kids and teachers stay connected. We have people that live out in rural areas where they don't have Spectrum, they don't have, you know, AT&T and those other, you know, engines or services that connect people with the internet. So the district, we did what we needed to do to try to make sure everyone stayed connected. Did the best we could with that. And then when we came back, you know, a lot of our students, they lost some ground. because it's a proven fact that a lot of students, they need to be in person to learn more effectively. And so when we came back, we, had to hit the ground running. But it was an adjustment for everyone. It was an adjustment for our teachers and staff and our students and parents. So one thing I can say is that we're at the point now, because that was the past, of course, but we are at the point now, Commissioner Devine mentioned that our student growth is happening. Our academic levels are coming up, but that breakneck speed, we would love for everything to go from where the point we are now into just rushing speed our students along. That would be ideal and optimal, but we are living in the stage of reality. We have students that have a lot of issues in their communities with violence and everything going on with families, and we deal with a lot of the mental health issues of teachers and students. So we do what we can as a district to make sure holistically we're there for our children academically and as far as their personal well-being. And the same with our students and our families, providing resources to make sure that they can help their students at home. So we're very proud of that connection that we're continuing to shoot for and continuing to make. And Commissioner Devine did mention safety. Our kids need to feel safe in their classrooms, need to feel safe around their schools. But it first starts with our community. We do need to partner with one another. We have a great relationship with our law enforcement partners, and they do well with the programs and initiatives that we're working with them on to make sure our communities get safer, because we have a lot of work to do when it comes to that. But those issues sometimes enter our schools. So we need to do what we can as a district and as a community to make sure our schools are safe, our students feel safe, because the learning outcomes improve when they feel safe and they feel protected, and our teachers feel protected, so that they can feel comfortable when they're teaching our kids. So thank you all so much. I look forward to making sure that we can continue our growth, to make sure that we are there for our staff and our teachers, and definitely for our community, because the main goal is for our kids to do better and to grow. So thank you all so much. And Senator Devine did mention early voting has started, and I would love that opportunity to serve another term. And thank you so much. Bye.
Real quick before we let them go, do y'all have any questions for our two candidates?
I do want to say one thing. If you go to vote411.org, it lists, you can put in your name, it will list your ballot and who's on your ballot. And a lot of the candidates have been asked questions. Some people don't respond. Angela and Jamie have both responded to the questions that are on here. You can look at all the candidates and read what they have to say with the questions that are given them. It gives you a little bit more input into who you're voting for. And that's vote411.org. So legal women voters.
Excellent. Thank you.
Vote411.org. And I have some bookmarks over there about that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was our guest speakers. Thank you both for coming. Thank you for sharing your message with us. I do want to let Senator Devine is also here, and while we're on the topic of politics, let's just keep it rolling. So, Senator Devine's got some updates for us, including a little information about that constitutional amendment you may have questions about. So.
Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna be real quick. I'm sorry, I know. Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna be real quick. Number one, I will say this too. I know Betsy was talking about the diabetes, and we all know 29203 has the highest incidence of diabetes, not just in our state, but in our nation. And so I think I did mention a couple of months ago when I was here, one of the funding things that I was able to get approved this year is a diabetes prevention pilot program specifically for 29203. Wiley Kennedy Center is the nonprofit that I asked to help facilitate that. Y'all know government is a little slow, so although our budget started July 1st, the money actually the checks just got written like last week. So Gwen Singletary, who's the head of the Wiley Kennedy Center, has some doctors and stuff that she's bringing together. So hopefully by the January meeting or so, I can tell you all. But what we're going to do is target prevention services, food as medicine. So how do you eat better? To kind of, to your point and stuff, how do you eat better to regulate your sugar and all that kind of stuff? So I will bring more information for that. But just the two things quickly I was gonna say is I've had some people call me in some neighborhoods ask me about the constitutional amendment that is on your ballot. Some of you I know already voted today, but if you have not voted yet, please make sure you go to 411 SC Votes, wherever, see your sample ballot. Please read everything. In addition to the candidates, everything from president to school board members you have, but after you vote for people, there are 3 questions on your ballot. The first one is a constitutional amendment. The second 2 are about the county penny. The first one, the constitutional amendment, it is a proposal to change one word in our Constitution about who is eligible to vote. And when you read it, it sounds really like a benign amendment. It says, that you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote. Y'all, the reality is you already have to be a U.S. citizen to vote. And so this amendment is not fixing anything. But what it is doing is the way that the constitutional amendment reads and the language that will change, that potentially in the future, there could be some changes on who is actually eligible to vote in our state. And so I'm very cautious about it. And the biggest thing that gave me pause is when we did try and add that there be some explanation on the amendment. The House and Senate did not want any explanations to the question. And so I personally, I'm not telling you about how to vote, but I'm personally voting no on that because you cannot vote as a U.S. citizen. I mean, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you cannot vote in the state already. And I'm very, very concerned about what this says. And in order to change the Constitution again, you have to go back to the voters. And so when you talk about voting and who's eligible to vote in years to come, that is a concern. But if you have any questions, I think the League of Women Voters is doing some education on it. There are other very nonpartisan nonprofits that have analyzed whether or not this kind of amendment is necessary. Most have, I think all that I've read said it's not necessary. So I do ask you to please do your due diligence and your homework on that. The last thing I just wanted to tell you all is that we don't have this happen often, but we all saw the effects of Helene and our energy in the state and the ability of our energy providers to get us back on really quickly. So right now, last year there was a proposal to do a lot as it relates to energy. One of the biggest things was that Santee Cooper and Dominion want to do a plant in Walterboro. There was not a lot of information and they were really trying to push it through really quickly, and so we were able to slow it down last year and give us some time. So this week the Senate subcommittee has started meeting again. I am on the bigger subcommittee. I'm not on the committee that met this week, but I am on the committee that will meet in 2 weeks to start talking about what this new bill may look like. So I'll make sure that Ty has that information. I'm going to get that to you all. My biggest question is, first of all, what does this mean for rates? But in light of what we just went through with Helene is, if you cannot handle currently, and I know this was a huge storm, so I'm not criticizing Dominion, but I had some concerns about just the ability to keep up with emergencies. And so I want to make sure that we are protecting our current system before we're talking about doing other things that may potentially make rates go up. But the last bill was really, really big. It was too much in it. I will say, even though I read it, I still had so many questions. So as we meet in the next 2 weeks, I'll make sure that you all are aware of it. What I would ask that y'all stay in touch and let me know what you think about it. My concern is that we're talking about providing energy for the growing needs of our state, which is really, really important. But we also need to think about smart growth and energy efficiencies and making sure that houses like we have in our older neighborhoods are weatherized, and that we have incentives for weatherizing and saving energy, and none of that stuff was addressed in the previous bill. So I will hopefully be able to bring that stuff forward to you all, but I just want you to know that that is happening now, and I want us to be aware earlier rather than later, because last year they presented it and it was like the last 2 weeks of the session and they were trying to get us to vote on it. So we need everybody to just be informed. Yes, ma'am?
I don't know whether you're the right person to ask about this, but when I lived in Florida, and owned my first home, the energy providers down there, and I don't know whose decision it is or who provides the funding for this, but they had huge pushes for us to make our homes much more energy efficient. And there was, a energy study that they would come out at no charge and do of your home, including like pressure testing and things like that. And then there was rebate programs if you used any of the approved providers, where you only paid the difference. In a lot of cases, it would be minimal. Like I had the blown-in insulation put in the attic, and I paid like $200 or something out of pocket, and they paid the balance. Ductwork repair, replacing HVAC units, blown-in black wall insulation, just all sorts of different things to reduce the energy demand. And I was kind of surprised that in all my years of living in South Carolina now, we don't have anything like that.
We have a little bit of that. I know Dominion will come and do like an assessment and stuff, but the rebate stuff, that is exactly, so the conservation voters, that's one of the things that they're asking us to, right now, you got Dominion and Santee Cooper, and Duke and others, even though they are not gonna completely benefit from this new plan, they're all wanting this new energy bill. And one of the things the conservation voters and others have said is, if they want something from the state, then the state needs to require them as good business owners in the state to do other things. And so your point is very well taken. Those are some of the things why slowing down the bill was good, and we will be looking at some of those things. I actually did ask Dominion about something similar, like how if you've got some folks like us with older homes, and we actually invest in doing things to our homes that cost us a little bit more, like especially, I don't know, are y'all historic as well? Like I'm in Earlwood, so we're the lowest level of designation, but anything that someone can see from the street, I have to go through the city to get improvement. So I wanna redo my windows and they can see it from the street, the city, I have to go through the city and all that stuff, and sometimes the windows, so that they look historic, they cost more. So if I'm gonna put that investment in my house, then what is there a benefit? And so I think those rebate programs are certainly things that we can look at. And so yes, if we're doing something that the energy providers want, what are they gonna do for ratepayers? And that's the big rub, is last year there was nothing that was really presented that would benefit ratepayers, other than saying, well, if we have, a strain on our energy, your lights won't go out. Well, we just saw our lights can go out and they can be out for days. And it's not about the number of users, it's about, anything can happen. So what can we provide for them? So that's exactly the kind of ideas I want, and that's why I'm saying I want y'all to be aware. If anybody has ideas like that, please let me know, send it to me in email or call or text. And as we're talking about what might be in this bill, those are certainly things that we can suggest.
Last question in the back.
Yes, sir.
Dominion is actually doing that, but it's just not in the 29293 area. They're actually doing that in the 29209 area right now.
Are they giving a rebate?
I'm not sure about the rebate, but you have to schedule it. Anyone that lives in the 29209 area, you have to schedule, because I work in that area. You have to schedule an appointment. Someone will give you an appointment time. They will come out to your house. They will check your house, the efficiency, just what she was telling about the window ceiling, door leak, any type of thing. They will check your home. Because I've actually scheduled some appointments for some people, but when I called them, when I realized it, and I think I'll look for the information on my phone, they said it wasn't available right now in the 29203 area, but it is available in 29209 and a few other areas. I just don't remember what those are.
So I'll check on that, because we did ours years ago, so they did at least used to do our area, because I had it done years ago, and that's when we got little spray stuff.
That's when it was South Carolina Electric.
Oh, yeah, it was SCNG then, yeah. I'll check on that. Diane, Ms. Wiley, I know I want y'all to get through their agenda, so I'll come over here and talk to you. If anybody has any other questions, just call me anytime. As always, my cell is area code 803-665-1397. Again, 803-665-1397. Just give me a call. I don't want to take too much of time. Thank you, because I wasn't on the agenda. But call me if you have any questions, and Ms. Wiley, I'll come back there to you.
One question, you didn't talk about the penny tax. That was the other thing that was on the.
That's on the ballot. I wasn't gonna take the county's thunder, but I guess y'all don't have a county person here. Yeah, so the other two questions are the penny tax. There are two questions on there. One is whether or not to extend the penny. As y'all know, when we voted for the penny years ago, it was to sunset at a certain amount of money or a certain date. The certain amount of money is coming quicker, and so now to extend the penny, to keep it going, we have to vote for it. If we do not extend the penny, quite honestly, the county potentially will raise taxes and cut a lot of the projects that are in there. And so they really do need to extend, and there will be cuts to the transit system. If we extend the penny, that's the first question. The second question is about allowing the county to issue bonds. So if the penny passes, of course, the collections won't come in yet, but the projects need to continue. So the second one will allow them to issue bonds and then pledge the penny money to pay the bonds back. So in essence, they need both yeses, because if they collect the penny, they still can't do the projects if they can't issue bonds. Okay. And I don't remember, I think it's called richlandpenny.com or .org, but there is a website that gives you has like frequently asked questions and all that stuff. I think there's some stuff. Janie, is there something up there on the penny? Yeah. She does. Okay, you left something. Yeah, so there's some additional stuff, and if I know enough as somebody who's kind of looked at it, and I was on city council when it first came through. I hadn't paid a whole lot of attention on the money now. I think it's 4.8 million is what they're looking for. Is it 4.8? Yeah, 4.8 million is what they're looking for in the projects. And the projects include a lot of things, including some off-road projects as well as some sidewalks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tell me again, congratulations.
I need to find out where she's registered, so please.
All right, thank you, Senator Devine. You're always welcome to come. I think when elected officials come and speak to their constituents, that's kind of the point of these meetings and all that. So I know nobody wants to listen to me talk, so because I don't have the answers for y'all. All right, let's move on to some committee reports. I have a treasurer's report. Elizabeth wasn't able to join us tonight, but she did send a report along. The current bank balance for our neighborhood association is $6,128.44. That's including recently incomes from a $2,500 grant check and membership dues. We got a new business member today, actually. I'll be sending that information out in this coming week. We had some expenses for Amazon, from Amazon.com for garden improvements, and for food-related transactions she's texting me about. So 4 transactions, we're not sure what they're expense for, but Elizabeth and me are trying to get to the bottom of it. I believe it goes with one of our grants for, and probably for preparations for National Night Out. So, any questions about the treasurer's report? We are swimming in cash, first time in a while, so that's good. Although we have some outlays, we are going to spend it. Membership committee, we did have a porch party at my house. Was it last week? Was that right? Is that last week? Am I crazy? My time is all running together here on me. But anyway, had a good turnout, about 12 people, I think. Thank you all for those who came. It was lovely weather, some great snacks provided by our neighbors, and everybody had a great time. Figure out some ideas about the neighbors while we were there. Talked about the hurricane recovery and all that. So that was a great party for sure. National Night Out. Pat? Okay, all right.
And so,
So there's that part of our treasurer's report,
right,
yeah.
so therefore it'll be November 12th at Hyatt Park from 6 until 8. And we will have we won't have a whole lot of children games and stuff like we had before, will we, Mr. Lee? Because we had set up a lot of stuff for kids earlier, but it won't be this time, it'll be the regular time from 6 until 8.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for your work on that. I'm sorry it got postponed because of the hurricane and all that. It's just,
That was nature.
yeah, circumstances came and got us, so. But good work, Pat, as usual, getting that plan for us. Beautification committee, Janie?
Really, I just want to say, I want to thank the city workers who did a tremendous job during this storm. All the code violations that were written up has been completed as a result of the storm, and everybody, I mean, they kept working, even though a lot of people had code violations. I don't know how the city incorporate the work of the city involving with the FEMA people and everything else. But we have done a wonderful job. All the code that I had written up, they worked it out. With the exception of one, and that's, again, I'll have to get with you on that one. That has 718 Johnson Avenue. I have to get with you on that. I think we may need to step that one up in terms of having a letter sent to the city.
Is that the property that we've had the complaints about?
House slice the property.
Yeah, okay. And I will say too, I've reported, I rarely do this, but the house on Summerlee Drive that's got the hole in the roof and the tree and the half done construction, talked to the city about that. They are moving on it now. They're working on it. I can't say there's any real update, but they're aware of it. They're looking into it. They're using their enforcement powers against it. I'm not usually into reporting houses for not looking good or anything like that, but that house is actual danger. And
I thought somebody was working on it.
Haven't in months, so I've not been working on it in months, so I don't know what's going on there, but the city's working on it, they're aware of it. And I do want to echo what Janie said about our city workers, and I want to kind of address real quick too. After the hurricane, I know a lot of us didn't have power, we had a lot of roads blocked, power lines down, trees down. Saw a lot of chatter on our Facebook group about how the city doesn't care about us and they ignored us and this, that. I just want to say, I worked directly with the city after a few days, of things kind of settling down to get our roads cleared and all that. And I'd say the mayor, Audie Bustles, Tina Herbert, Tyler Bailey, our assistant city managers, super responsive, super helpful. I do not think anybody was ignoring us. I think they just did not know at first how bad it was in our neighborhood. I think was probably an issue, as it was a problem in a lot of the city. I don't think the city, it just took them a while to collect all that information with the communications being difficult, power being out, this and that. Once we did report them the problems, they jumped on it immediately. They came and cleared things very quickly, and I think they did a very good job of doing that. For all the issues I reported, I didn't have one person return to me and say the city didn't do it correctly or didn't do a good job or didn't finish. So I actually thought the city's response was really good, and I thought our city workers helped a lot. And on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our Hyatt Park Committee report. Sorry, did you have that? Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you. For the way that you listed all the problems and you kept on it, and it really made a big difference.
I appreciate that, yeah. I got back, I was out of town when the hurricane actually happened, so I actually got to miss the fun part, and then when I got back, I didn't have power for about a week, like most of us did, I think, and so I went to a bar to watch the Sunday night football game, and sat there on my phone and collected all the complaints we had and stuff, and just wrote them all down. So I just sent a few emails, so appreciate your kind words, though. Our neighbor's really active, so it was really helpful. I actually didn't see almost any of those actual problems myself. They were all reported. People took pictures and all that. So the neighborhood really stepped up to get all that taken care of. And speaking of which, that week the following week after the hurricane, we had a committee meeting. Our Hyatt Park committee had a meeting scheduled with our Parks Department and Tina Herbert to discuss what we wanted to see in the future out of Hyatt Park. And despite the fact that the hurricane happened the week before, Tina Herbert made the meeting by phone. Our assistant city manager Henry Simons made the meeting in person, and so did the parks director Keenan Bryant and Todd Martin, the park architect and developer that we've been working with for years. They all made that meeting, met with us for like a good hour and a half. Tina let me fuss at her a bit about the city's funding for Hyatt Park. And so in that meeting, we went through all the concerns we talked about the last few weeks, the security issues, the Leroy Mosque signage that we'd like to see placed out there to properly indicate who the building is named for, and then the improvements we want to see at the park itself that we've been talking about ad nauseum for years. I think Tina got the message, and I think the park staff got the message that we really are invested. We want to see the park improved. Can't say that we extracted a promise or anything for more funding. We got a bit of pushback on that. The city seems to think that there's just priorities in other places, since we have had some of our work done here recently. A couple of those first phases of improvements were done at Hyatt Park. They are currently going to fix the playground equipment. That playground equipment is going to be replaced, so there'll be more traditional playground equipment that we've been asking for. All I can say is I think we need to continue to push the city. I think there's still a lot of work to be done there. Half the park is still empty. The building needs significant improvements, and we made all that very clear to them, what we wanted to see, what our priorities are. And we're just going to keep pushing them and try to get funding for the rest of the park. If anybody has any ideas about how we can push our city to get this funding, I'm happy to hear it.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
These priorities that you're talking about, that you all trying to negotiate, is there a list of what those are going to be? Is there a list of what they cannot do, and for what reason they cannot do it? My concern is basically safety. That's what my concern is, okay?
Yeah.
In the event that someone gets hurt out there, is there something that they can go to connect so that someone can come to them, rather than someone stumble up on that person and all of a sudden see that and it'd be too late?
One of the things, the list that you're talking about, we did make a list a long time ago, I'd say 5 years ago maybe, to help the city come up with their ideas for what the phases of improvements would be for the park. And so that list included things like new playground equipment, that splash pad that you see out there now, improvements to the baseball field, new bathrooms for the gym and for the outdoors, and then all the improvements we'd like to see in the empty part of the park, like new plantings, walking paths, lighting, fences. So part of that was security. That's another thing we actually did discuss with them, kind of on the side, is like the security of the park and increasing police patrols. But then also a big thing we want to see out there is improved lighting, and for children, fences around the park, or some kind of border to make the park a little more of a secured space, because it's quite a large park along a highway. So there is a list of improvements that need to be done. I can get you that. We haven't looked at it in a while, but the city has a planned out, phased out improvement plan for the park that includes all the things we asked them for years ago, and we had all these meetings about. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but they have this one particular thing at the Broad River Road where you can walk by the lake or by the river. There are certain stations that they have in the event that someone gets hurt or something takes place. They have these things where you can connect to someone in the event of emergency, and they come to you.
You talking about call box?
Exactly.
Does anybody know if we have those call, or we don't have any call boxes in the neighborhoods or in the park?
There's blue light call boxes, is that what?
Yeah, they're on the canal.
They're on the
I didn't realize that.
No, they're not in the community. You go and you push a button or whatever, and it identifies your location, and someone comes to you.
Yeah, that's maybe something we need to bring up and say that's the police maybe need to make that a priority and put one in there, or a few actually. So, okay, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have benches next to them, so that if a person needs to have a place to sit in the event of, they have that.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I hadn't even thought that we even discussed that one when we were talking about park improvements. So yeah, appreciate that suggestion. I'm gonna add that to our list of things and see. I assume that's a city police project that they would do. I assume not wouldn't be part of the park. So we might have to work with our law enforcement who came and went, I believe, because I don't think I gave them time to come speak yet. So, but we'll see if we can work with them and see if we can maybe get some of those boxes around our park, because I think that's a good idea. Any other thoughts about Hyde Park? Yes, ma'am.
I got a question.
Yeah. What's your question?
About the city. The trash people, they are going down don't pick up the trash, the tree limb, I mean, they come and bypass and keep on going. I'm trying to figure out why they do that.
Is this the garbage and recycling or the yard
Trash,
debris?
The debris, tree
Yeah.
trash, the yard trash, they come and look at it and keep on going and won't pick it up. I'm trying to figure out why they do that.
Is this just on your street or?
All over the area, up over there. Everything you go there and see, they've been there for a week, that's been there for a week, that's been
Yeah.
there for a week.
I will say, I know they told me when we were talking about the hurricane recovery, they said it just might be a while. They are still coming around.
They got mine
Yeah,
today.
before the hurricane.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's been a problem before that?
Before the hurricane.
Okay.
If they miss your trash, you can call them, they'll send somebody out to pick it
I ain't
up.
said the trash, I said the yard.
Well, probably that too, I don't know. I bet
But I'm saying, it's not just in my area, it's all over. If you
Okay.
ride that whole area, you'll see a lump of trash here, been there for a week. Go over there what the street on Monticello, it's been there for a week. It's just that they don't pick them up and they bypass it. I just don't understand.
Okay. I'll see if I can ask Clint Sheely about that.
They don't wanna see me, cause they know me.
I'll see if I can ask, see if they any issues with not looking up, and maybe they can make sure they're paying
I go
attention.
down there first, they know me, they don't wanna see me.
They used to have the move out number. If a tenant moved out and they left everything on the street, rather than if we pick Monday's our day around here for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, then it's a whole nother week that stuff's out. But I know they had a phone number, household goods, is what we're talking about.
I'm talking about the tree limbs and stuff on the
Yeah.
street. I'm talking about before the hurricane that was be.
I can talk about that too.
And put them out there, they been out there for a week, go down the street, your neighbor,
Yeah.
a couple of blocks.
2
down,
or 3
They
weeks.
cut them down, they out there down there a week. This is what I'm
Right.
talking about. I don't know why they look at them and keep going.
I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can get some answers for you on that one.
Clean out.
Well, if you find out that I'm in jail in an orange jumpsuit, you go right in there.
I do know one time when I went down to talk to them, they had told me that they will bypass any, like if, somebody is kindling the trees up, or if you replace your fence or something like that, they'll very often assume that that was a professional
Right.
that did that, and they won't leave you a note, they won't pick it up, they won't nothing.
Right.
You have to go down and pay them or dispute.
Yeah, you gotta argue with them and let them know that you were out there with the clippers yourself and you dragged that out yourself, and yeah.
But that's not what she's saying.
No, I know.
She's saying something that's accumulative. I understand what she's saying, because all they did in certain places is cut a pathway, move the stuff to the side so folk could get through. I understand that, but you're gonna leave it there, what's gonna happen?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna see if we can get some answers from the city about that and see if they're if they're gonna tell me whether it's just still from hurricanes or you said it's happened before. It's been happening before that, and see if they need to redouble their efforts on our streets and see if they need to make sure they find all the yard debris that's out.
Sometimes when you get something like generators, some of the tree limbs is from the hurricane when they cut down and it's still on the street.
Yeah, yeah. And they did tell me it would be a while. They didn't mean I think they meant weeks. So if it's still there, I apologize. They should be coming around to get those things. They're just very far behind after the hurricane. So, but I will check to see if we're having some other issues anyway. All right, do you want to get to some new business real quick? We did get our Love Your Block grant. Mimi Draft applied for that grant for us. That's the city grant. It was awarded, so that one we talked about last time. I apologize if you don't have the grant in front of me to see exactly what we asked for. Does anybody have the details about it? Here, okay. Apologies, Mimi's not here, and she wrote the grant, but she can tell us in our next meeting what that grant was awarded, what we got out of that grant, and what we applied for, money for. So I do believe we have been applying for a new neighborhood sign to replace the Hyatt Park sign that was stolen. So we're gonna see if we can get something to replace that. All right. I'm sorry, all this meeting's just gonna go over about a few minutes, but we discussed at the porch party we had the other day. Andrea Waters, who I'm sure y'all just saw, did a. It's not really associated with the neighborhood association, but she did a thing on Summerly Drive yesterday where they shut down the street and had like a Halloween party for the kids and all that. She's done that a couple years now, or a few years now in a row, and she's also started doing a Christmas tree lighting on that street. She's doing it all by herself, and planning it all by herself and paying for everything. So we did talk to her about, and my suggestion was when they do the Christmas tree lighting this year, especially since we're doing so well with our cash and all that, that we can kind of make this a joint project with the neighborhood association, help her plan the Christmas tree lighting, the neighborhood Christmas tree lighting, and actually buy the tree this year and buy a good sized tree this year instead of a little tiny one. So maybe buy one that's big enough. And the idea is for this event, not only be a fun event, she'll plan all the activities around it and all that, but everybody can bring an ornament to hang on the tree and make it like a true community Christmas tree. And she's gonna find somebody to volunteer to have that in their yard and all. What do we think about that idea for it?
Will that be in the neighborhood for everybody to see, or just on Cinema, on that street?
She hasn't told me where she's which property, but if, whichever neighbor volunteers. I assume they did it last year on Summerlee because the neighbor on Summerlee, they used his tree to do to be the tree to light. So that's the one they chose. But,
I thought our neighborhood tree was right there in front of Zesto.
in the plaza here, is that Noma Business Association does a tree. That's their event they do.
But right here.
Yeah, right here. I guess
with
behind
the
us, yeah.
with the circle thing around it.
Eau Claire Community Council.
Oh, that's Eau Claire Community Council. Yeah.
And I don't know if they're even still
is.
Yeah. They've been doing it. But that's not our event. We do get invited to it usually to Smart Neighborhood as well. But anyway, any other thoughts about the?
So the tree is on the by the road? Is it where would the tree? You don't know where the tree would be.
I can't say I know that for sure at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to say that if we contribute by purchasing the tree, it would be nice if it could be on a main road and not just back on Summerlee, because not many people were able to see that.
So everybody can see it.
So everyone could see it, and everyone could be invited and participate. And also, the tree that they decorated last year has been cut down. The house was sold. The tree's been cut down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not there anymore. And also, from what I understand, it lit and then it blew a fuse or something and it was never lit again. So it was kind of a fizzle.
Yeah.
Well, what would be a better street? I mean, a more,
It's tough because you have to have a neighbor agree to have a Christmas tree put in their front yard and let everybody come to their house and hang out for a day.
Like at a major corner, like at Avondale and Abington, where that little free library is, something like that.
And you all have, there's a sign saying, on, what's the name?
Sunset and.
Sunset, there's a sign that can clean that up
Well,
and put a tree there.
see, they're doing construction there now.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you won't be able to
I
see
would
it.
like to watch that and do a new thing and do it in the park, find a tree and light a tree in the park.
I wish we could invite Andrea to join us.
I know, yeah. Any other thoughts about that? Sorry, Jocelyn.
Live tree or an artificial?
Yeah, live tree.
A tree that's in the ground, that's growing.
No, I think we should buy a Christmas tree from a Christmas tree, like most people do for their homes, but keep it outside.
I think somebody needs to tell her that she needs to come to our meeting. I mean, it's just a little odd that they do these things right in their little neighborhood, but they're not part of the neighborhood association.
That's true. I mean, it's also she's planning the events without us spending any money. I mean, we're not. Before we've never actually contributed anyway. She's just doing them on her own and at her own expense. We don't have to get involved.
Why don't you ask her to come? Say,
No, I have asked her to come, but that's the other thing she wants to. That's all I can say is she's planning an event. She does invite the whole neighborhood, so she does an invite to everybody, and
Just let her keep doing it herself.
Yeah, let her keep doing it.
I feel like
Okay.
she does put it out on the Hyatt Park Keenan Terrace Facebook page if anybody's there. She calls herself Keenan Terrace Hyatt Park. Which I have a problem with. And if we do give her money, then every smaller community or every street might be have their hands out. So.
Well, I don't know if we have any other community events, but okay. It sounds like there's some opposition to doing that. So okay, all right. Well, we'll scratch that out. All right, Lyman, you wanted to talk about stop sign on Lamar.
Well, coming up after that agenda item, this will be a good one. So we've got a problem on Lamar Street, and it's in the block between Duke and Johnson, where there's a stop sign. Cars go around Duke Avenue and come down our street, and they're just dipping. And we try to back out of the driveway, and we've got 3 cars now, and it's really unsafe. And they go past Jackson, and then down past the ballpark, and there's a stop sign. But you can pick up time from the time you go around Duke until you have to stop down there. Jackson has a stop sign coming on Jackson crossing Lamar, but it's not a 4-way stop. And so I think the step is, we'd like the city to put up a stop sign. We actually like a speed hump right by the post office. Anybody going to the post office wouldn't touch the hump, but if you're coming onto our block, you gotta bump over or go down to Monticello and go down here and go around the light, our brand new stop signs, and signalization, which has got some issues, but I'm sure it can be fixed. So Jocelyn, do you have any other words to say?
Well, I live on Lamar Street, we live just a couple blocks away here. And what happens is, especially now that they've closed it off down at the bottom, but people use it as a shortcut, to avoid the light here. And there's kids that walk, there's no sidewalks, they walk on their way down to the park. And a lot of times, especially on the weekends, I sit out on the front porch, and these motorcycles and souped up tricycles and things like that just zoom. They're going by the park and they really fly. And so I do worry a lot about pedestrians. But it is a hazard.
So the process is we are supposed to ask the neighborhood association if you would recommend approval for us to apply, and I think you have to apply, and then I think there's a traffic study, and then they'll see what all that is, and if anybody talks to us, they'll say, how about count this at the post office and then count it down at Courtright, and we'll find the people that are just going through, that way, and that's what when on the weekends sometimes, the cars just go by.
But you got a lot of walking traffic over there.
And we got a lot of walking, and there's kids, and there's no sidewalk in that block where the houses on both sides where I'm talking about. And those kids walk on Duke, which is plenty of room, and then they get into our street and they walk down the street and somebody swings around the corner. And, it's unsafe.
I got something to say.
I just have a question. Have you thought of street, commerce where you can get, not commerce, but it's a street,
The ones like on Lincoln Street and, they're around.
I think you'll consider that before a stop sign, because if you write it up correctly and you try to integrate the park and the children in the park, what they call a street, commerce, I think. Being that we don't have sidewalks there, like you would have, you pass other streets, but I think a stop sign is more. I don't think a street sign, personally, I don't think a stop sign is necessary for that location. But I think maybe a street, commerce would.
Well, the point is, it's unsafe out there, and I'm reaching out here, and Jocelyn is reaching out also, that we at least take the step, so.
Lyman, who would I apply to for the study?
What was that, you were, in communication with him, like, pre-COVID, when we were trying, that when Sam was our representative, and what was that guy's name in the streets department?
I have no idea.
Robert or something?
Why don't we ask Tina? I think Tina's the one, she'll tell us who to apply.
She has to approve it, too. Your city council has to approve it.
And they'll have to approve it.
The city council will have to approve that.
Right.
So you have to go through the city council, because the highway department doesn't do any of that anymore without your city council being part of this process.
I've been there with you, where
Yeah.
people have to
Just
apply.
wanna make sure we
Right.
understand.
And we did show up that day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've got a very similar situation beside my house, Wildsmere Avenue.
Yes.
7 blocks long with no stop signs.
Right.
No speed humps. When I pull out of my driveway, there's a hill that they fly over. It's probably even more dangerous than your situation, because you can't see. And
Right.
I would think there's a lot of places in the neighborhood. So I'd like to get on that boat too.
Well,
I'm not opposed to yours, but I got the same
if
situation.
we can take the step, we'll figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed
And
to
figure
yours.
out how to get humps and stop signs
Yeah.
or whatever, you know, the
These guys
city
get
fathers will do for
a
them.
high rate of speed because they know they don't have to stop.
They just come around that corner.
Can y'all both send me an email requesting specifically what you're looking for? And then I will
Yeah,
run that to the city.
yeah, just a resolution
All right.
to explore.
Thank y'all. That'll be a long process. We've been through this before, so y'all can look forward to a study being done and this and that. We'll keep y'all updated. I have one last thing I get to. I know it's already late. I'm so sorry, but this one's pretty important. I got to get it out now. So my term ends in February. We elect new officers in February and the new officers start in March. Though I have 2 more years left, I could serve like under our Constitution to serve out another 3-year term or whatever. I'm gonna have to step down in February. I have a new job. It's taking a lot of my time. I don't have enough time to devote to this and some of my other community activities. So I am gonna step down in February. Or elect a new president. So I'd like y'all to start thinking about who you might like to see be president, and in that vein, we need to form a nominating committee for all of the officers. So what we've done in the past is we create a nominating committee. They meet however many times they need to, and come up with a list of candidates they would like to nominate as a whole, like as a slate to the neighborhood association board and to the officer positions. Then come February, we'll have the election. The nominating committee can forward those selections to the general meeting. But also anyone who wants to run, who's not nominated by the nominating committee, can also you can nominate somebody else, or you can nominate yourself and run as well. We'll hold the election that way. But that's generally how we do it, so that we do have some succession planning. So we have some thought about who is going to be next. We don't just walk in on February and say, who wants to do this now? Do I have any volunteers to serve on the nominating committee? Gonna need a few. Lyman?
I'll serve.
Okay.
I'm the nominating.
Pat back there.
You're not that busy.
Pat? Serve. Come on. I'm gonna need a few more, y'all. Who's that? Janie, you're serving on the nominating committee now. No, Pat nominated you. You're welcome. Anyone else? I could use like 2 more, guys, to get a good group of folks. I don't have to. Betsy? One more volunteer? I'll try to recruit one of our officers who didn't come tonight and see if I can get them to serve on the committee. Bob did? That's what I thought too. I thought I heard him say that. Yeah. I guess Bob did. All right. Okay. Well, we still have spaces open if anybody wants to serve on that committee. It can be as big as we want it to be. It's fine. I think it's just a good thing to get together. I'm going to appoint a chair of that later. I'll email y'all and appoint a chair just so there's someone that kind of can take the initiative and get it going. Again, y'all do need folks that are serving on the committee. Please get us a slate of candidates. Please ask the candidates before you nominate them if they want to serve, gauge their interest, that's helpful, and then also make sure that slate's ready to go for the February meeting, which I don't think that is yet. But, all right, any questions about that? Anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn?
As much as I really want to get out of here, I do need to bring up the complaint that we saw on the Facebook page. A gentleman was complaining about concerts being held somewhere on Palmetto. I don't know anything about it other than that, and I said I would bring it up, so I brought it up.
I haven't got a complaint from him specifically. All I did see his Facebook post.
No.
But you know, he wants to reach out. Jane Nelson is our code enforcement liaison, so she'd be happy to report that issue if he comes to us and brings it up. So that's what I would say about that.
Where was the police tonight?
They came. I think they were late, and then we had candidates that really needed to speak before they had to go and have childcare and all that. So
I want to talk to them about the post
I think it's kind of missed them. If y'all do have any specific complaints you'd like to get to law enforcement, feel free to either reach out to me or I'll try to send them along or get you the phone numbers. So. Okay, I'm sorry. I usually have more of an open floor for members, but we are already at an hour and 20 minutes, and that was a lot of information tonight. So I think we can have a call. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor, say aye. All right. Thank you all.